Hey folks, I'm Josh. My company is Sterling Grace Tech. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about email deliverability. So email is one of those things that is essential to all of our businesses. And, if you're not able to send, you might as well not be in business. Your customers certainly expect you to be able to get an email through to them and to get their emails. And so I'm going to be talking about your emails and why they might be bouncing, as well as some things to consider in the coming year because there are some technology changes that are happening. So when we are talking about email deliverability, what we're really talking about is how likely it is for the receiving person's mail server to say, nope, I'm not taking your mail. And there are a couple different technologies that are part of that process. There are three kind of core ones that every domain should have set up. So the first one is called Sender Policy Framework. And basically, this is a list, a white list of all the different servers on the internet that are allowed to send mail on your behalf. So if you've signed up for some third-party service that's going to send mail for you, but you haven't figured out how to make those SPF Sender Policy Framework changes, chances are that the recipients of your emails, your intended recipients, are going to bounce your mail because your new service is not going to be on that whitelist. An example of this is we have a country club customer who uses a service called Clubster to send mass mail. And when they signed up with Clubster, Clubster didn't explain to them how they needed to set up SPF policies. And so mass mails would go out to their membership, and about 50% of them would be bounced, and they wouldn't understand why. And so this is one simple thing that can kind of fix that level of deliverability. The next one is domain keys. So this is something that we call DKIM in the industry. You might have heard tech nerds refer to DKIM if you've ever heard of this at all, but it is a little obscure, so maybe you haven't. Basically, your server is using a encryption to create a special key that goes out with your mail that uniquely identifies it as coming from a legitimate source. And then the receiver looks at your domain and they're able to tell that this is legitimate based on something that you've published publicly to verify it. And so this is a technology that's really it's even better than SPF because it implies that you have some kind of encryption key that only the valid domain holder could have. The third one is called DMARC, and that's basically just a tool that tells Google or Microsoft, hey, when I get a illegitimate email from the PBEX domain, when somebody pbex.ca is sending me garbage and I don't validate it because it either failed on the sender policy or it failed those domain keys, send it back to Tony and say, who's the person who or a server who sent this, so that Tony can then go and complain and make them stop sending that spam. So this is a lot of tech talk, and it might be a little bit too much for most people who just want to do their job. So you need to get a great IT support person into your digital Rolodex. And the kind of take home of this is that Google and Microsoft are both two organizations that both heavily use these technologies. They also heavily require anything that's sent to them to use these technologies. And so if you don't have them, they're actually strict enough that this year around April, Google is going to implement a strict policy where if you don't have all three of these in place, they won't accept any of your mail, period. And so this is something that you should be checking with your IT specialist. And so, yeah, that's kind of the core of mail deliverability. So if you want to chat more about email deliverability, give me a call.